Welcome to Financials with How. It's a joy to be with you again today as we continue speaking on investments. And today we are going to begin the conversation on investment avenues. Now, I know that sounds like a mouthful of English, but what we really are going to debunk is the different ways and places in which we can invest. Why do we want to do that? It's important because each of us will have individual goals, each of us will have individual areas of interest, and each of us will have individual financial capacities. And this become key when we are trying to determine the investment avenues to take. And also each of us will be at different ages and different seasons in life. And of course, we know that depending on these factors too, then the area in which we invest becomes very core. In the previous video, when we were talking about where to invest, we touched a bit on also risk factors. This become key when it comes to determining investment avenues. So one of the things that I want us to try and think through is when I think about how I want my money to grow, as we see when we began, investment is money working. What would be the best place for me based on where I'm at? So that's a very important question to answer. I'd invite us to write it in our action book. Keep it as a place of constantly going back and forth so that you know that you're building up on that as you make your investment decisions or as you elect your investment avenues. Looking at the economies globally, this is also a key factor because some economies are more advanced, allowing for greater avenues of investment. So I could mention a few, which will continue to debunk just the general ones. And even as I interact with more, I'll also share them. So typically, since time immemorial, we've known that most people invest in real estate. For Africa, we know that having a plot, as we say it in Kenya somewhere, having a land, having a shamba, in dialect, some dialects, having a mugunda, somewhere is key. So one has been real estate. As economies have grown, there's also been the aspect of investing in the different markets. So this is like the stock market or shares. This is like the bond market or government securities. So this has been another area where people have thought of investing. Economies are continuing to grow, and within these markets, there have also been different avenues you can invest in. So some people invest in regular listed companies, some are investing in companies that are dealing in things like precious metals, oils, and things like that. So again, this is a very key area of thought in terms of not only are we investing maybe in shares or in stocks, but what particular share or stock avenue are we investing in? When it comes to government securities, developing economies are still growing. So most times you find maybe they offer just government bills and government bonds, but more developed economies may offer different securities. And then there's also the global markets. I know some of us have heard of the global stock exchanges like the NYC, and we have the London Stock Exchange, and then we have the NASDAQ, which is a 24-hour stock market. And these are still areas that we would want to debunk and look at a little bit. And of course, in Africa, we know the three biggest markets are the JSE, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, that's in South Africa, then the NSE, the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Then we also have the Egyptian stock market, which has also been growing. Then we also have the Nairobi Stock Exchange, also the NSE. Now, these ones, the most active or the most advanced will be the JSE. That's because of the exposures, but also because in Africa, South Africa has been quite a financial hub and quite financially adventurous. So that explains why the stock market may be more advanced than many others. Real estate, for instance, in Africa remains widely unexplored, but also exploited. So when we say unexplored, it means that there's an area to do more. But when we say exploited, it means it's also the place where the most atrocities, the most price inequalities, the most just people holding vast pieces of land that are not being put to good use economically has also been advanced. So it's kind of just starting to think in that direction. We'll definitely continue to discuss more on this. I'll also share links on this because I definitely am not an expert, but I just want us to think around them and learn more about them. Thank you for joining, Sahau, and we're really looking forward to build up this conversation together as we find the best way to invest for us. Talk to you soon again. Bye.